ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Always, a wonderful blessing to be with all of you illustrious devotees. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are in the world. I'm wishing you a joyous and blissful Ekadashi day. Um, Wishing all auspiciousness upon all of us. So before we get into exciting pastimes and adventures, Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai. So it is wonderful to be with everyone yet again. Last time we were together, we were speaking about the glories of Hanuman. We were speaking about how devotional service can make us immortal, like nothing else can. We were speaking about how Madhavendra Puri experienced this, and how devotional service made even him immortal. Because of his devotional service, the fame that he was kind of trying to run away from was following him like a shadow, like even a fragrance, we were pointing out. So this is the nature of devotional service. Just when we think, oh, I'm going to run away from it all, it tends to follow us wherever we go. And this is actually the Lord's mercy. So many demons have been doing unlimited austerities in order to become immortal. And instead, Hanuman simply had to serve Lord Ram with everything he had. And that is what made him happiest. And because Hanuman is such a big personality, I thought, why not continue with the glories of Hanuman and see what comes out for us. So we are going to continue with part 2 of the glories of Sri Hanuman. Last we got to just about the birth of Hanuman. We spoke about his amazing celestial earrings, the weapons sent by Bali, this incredible poison made of 5 metals that was meant to kill Hanuman, but instead became such a great asset, became an ornament due to the mercy of Sri Ramachandra, due to the mercy of the Lord's blessings and the overwhelming protection of even the holy name. So now we continue. Hanuman has been born, son of Anjana or Anjani, and the king of the Vanaras in that province, Keshari. So Hanuman was a very mystical child. We spoke about the fact that he is an expansion of Lord Shiva. So endowed with many special qualities already. So many of the Vanaras at that time, those celestial monkeys, were expansions of many of the demigods. In fact, this was the order of the Supreme Lord. Because Ravana was doing what demons do, which means he was looking for a way to become immortal, he was asking for lots and lots of benedictions. And he got a lot of benedictions for strength. He's got 10 heads, he's got 20 arms, he's got all kinds of things. He can change his form at will. He's endowed with so many mystical perfections. But one thing he does not ask for immunity against is many animals and men, humans. And one would think, like, well, why single out those? It's not that he singled them out, it was they were so insignificant to him that he did not think to ask for a benediction for immunity against humans. My Guru Maharaj often says that would be akin to us asking for, if we were going to ask for benedictions, if we were going to ask for strength and valor and all of these incredible boons. It's like us asking to be immune from like an ant. This is the equation that we're looking at. And so Ravan was so powerful. He had already conquered so many humans. Why would he ask for a boon or a benediction for immunity against those he'd already conquered? And animals, what can they do? Even though he should have figured out that this was going to be a problem. Ravan had a run-in with Bali. The same Bali, brother of Sugriva, father of Angad, the ruler of these many, many Vanaras. He had a run-in with Bali before. Bali had a habit of chanting his Gayatri prayers in 3 different sacred rivers. But in order to get to each of these 3 different sacred rivers, he would jump, because this is what monkeys do best. They jump, and these celestial monkeys can jump very far and very fast. And so he would jump from river to river to chant his Gayatri mantras. Because even forest-dwelling Vanaras are spiritual entities who are very attached to chanting their mantras each day. Imagine if we could just be so attached to chanting our mantras each day. I often, find myself giving myself many, many, many excuses. Oh, I forgot. Oh, the time's not right. Oh, I don't know how I'm feeling. Oh, so many things. I have to get up. I have to move. I have to do whatever. But even the Vanaras, forest dwelling. These are celestial, not even humans. How amazing is it? And so Bali would chant his Gayatri in so many different sacred rivers. And so once Ravana came to challenge him. But Bali was in the middle of saying his mantras. Why would he stop? And so Ravan thought, what can this monkey do to me? And so he goes to challenge Bali. And just as he goes to attack Bali, Bali does something incredibly simple. He essentially puts Ravana in a headlock. He takes Ravana's head and stuffs it under his armpit, and then continues chanting his mantras. Because let nothing stop the chanting of his mantras. And then he has to go to another sacred river to chant more mantras. And so he jumps, but he carries Ravana with him still in this nice headlock. And this goes on for years. Ravana's ineffectually trapped. So one would think that, maybe Ravana should have asked for a benediction against these particular monkeys. Maybe not all of them, but just these ones. These Vanaras, they are presenting a problem. But he doesn't. And so this is the order of the Lord. The Lord says, take your form in these different ways and assist me in my mission. And so we heard how Lord Shiva was very, very eager to assist the Lord in his mission. He wanted to do anything and everything to offer some service to the Lord. And so even Parvati Devi is asking, why would you want to take the form of a monkey? It's because monkeys don't work by human rules. I need to be able to not have anything hold me back in my service. I don't want to work by these human rules. And as we know, if anyone doesn't want to work by these human rules, it's going to be Lord Shiva. He is not held by societal customs or any of these societal rules. And it's what makes him so wonderful. And so we spoke about if we don't fit in, that's okay. Sometimes it's a little bit better if we are not held back by all of the rules of a sanely insane society. Right? We're looking at all of these rules of this society, and who has said that this is what makes a society, that this is what makes a person. Really, we can learn from Shastra. What makes a good society? What makes a good person? And so many times, Shastra has said, you could be doing all of the philanthropic work in the world, and somehow it doesn't make our hearts feel as secure as devotional service. And instead, sometimes we can perform devotional service perfectly, and sometimes it looks like we don't hold societal customs perfectly, and yet Krishna feels as though we are perfect. It is our devotional service that matters. And when we start shaping our lives around our devotional service, magic happens. There is a synergy that happens. It doesn't mean that we simply forget everyone else and everything else. It means that as we perform our devotional service, Krishna helps us take care of everything else and everyone else. Because on our own, what can we do really? But with the power of devotional service on our side, and with the holy name on our side, what can't we do? There's nothing that is impossible for us. In that regard, as Hanuman was a small child, he was very hungry. And this is a theme that we will often see with Hanuman. He's very hungry. All of the monkeys are very hungry. they enjoy a great meal. They enjoy good music. They enjoy a good festival. And they enjoy service. It's amazing. And so Hanuman was quite hungry. And he asks his mother, he wants some fruit. She says, you can eat any of the fruit that you see here. You are the son of this ruler of this section of Vanaras. You eat any fruit that you see. It's all yours, no problem. You know, if you've ever seen the movie The Lion King, and Mufasa and Simba are sitting on top of Pride Rock, and he tells them everything the light touches is part of our kingdom. And so this is kind of the same kind of principle. Any of the fruit you see here, it's yours. Eat it. Hanuman looks and he sees so many fruits, but there's one golden fruit that looks bigger than them all. It looks like the most ripe, the most juicy mango. Just amazing. And there it is, hanging in the sky, ripe for the picking. So Hanuman thinks, my mother said I can eat any of the fruits that I see, and I see the biggest fruit ever. Let me eat that one. After eating that one, I can't think of anything that I would be hungry for after. So Hanuman jumps. He takes off with a mighty leap. And even as a baby, he is incredibly strong and incredibly fast, because not only is he the son of Keshari, but he's also the son of the wind. And being the son of the wind god, he is now propelled by the wind. And he shoots off after this fruit, which happens to not be a fruit, but happens to be the sun itself. Which, if you've ever seen, sometimes can look like a big round mango. And it's amazing when you see it. Anytime, well, it's cloudy now in New York, so we're missing the mango. But I've seen it. And in different parts of the world, we see it. If anyone has ever observed a sunset in Vrindavan over the Jamuna, the sun looks like a big ripe fruit. You can see how Hanuman could be confused. I understand it. And so he takes off. And he jumps after the sun. As he gets closer and closer to the sun is a little bit in anxiety. Like, what's happening? Why? Why is there a small monkey rushing toward me? Nothing about this makes any sense to anyone. However, that day also happened to be an eclipse. And so also rushing toward the sun was Rahu. Rahu is a planet and an entity who is able to devour the sun and the moon on specific days and causes eclipses. And so Rahu is also coming towards the sun, and Hanuman's coming towards the sun. And midway, Hanuman kind of looks and sees Rahu. Oh, another fruit. This fruit is kind of dark and ominous, but still looks big and juicy and let's see about that one. And so he changes direction, changes course, jumping after Rahu. Rahu now begins to run in fear. Rahu changes course, is not going to devour the sun anymore, is running in fear towards Indra. Indra, you are the king of the Devas. You are the king of all of these celestial planetary systems. Help me. I've gotten a boon that I can devour the sun and the moon on specific days, and today is my specific day for devouring the sun, but now there's a little baby monkey trying to devour both me and the sun. We need help. Indra arrives on his elephant carrier, Airavata, to see what's the problem. Right? Sometimes we think, where is the supervisor? We need a supervisor. Indra arrives as universal supervisor. And so Hanuman now sees Airavata, the great, it's like white, mystical elephant carrier of Indra. And he thinks, oh, more fruit. And so he takes off after Airavata. Airavata now is running. Rahu's running. The sun is worried. Everyone's worried. No one knows what's happening. There's a little baby monkey running after fruit, and he's very, very hungry. And so he's running after Airavata. Airavata saying, hey, Indra, save me. And finally, Indra takes his thunderbolt and he hurls it at this little baby monkey. It hits him on the chin, breaking his jaw and sending him hurtling back down towards the earth. Hanuman falls to the earth, unconscious. He looks almost lifeless. This is a problem. Vayu, the wind god, now sees that his own son looks lifeless. He carries Hanuman into a cave, places little unconscious Hanuman down, and then decides to teach all of the Devas a good lesson. Here's a problem. Once, there are very many things that people can be tolerant about. Their kids are not one of those things. Kids and pets, they're not going to be those things, right? Like they're not going to be tolerant of people mistreating those things that are so, so incredibly dear to them. And so now Vayu is quite upset. And so he does something which is very simple, but incredibly big. He simply withdraws his energy. No problem. You all have insulted my child. I now withdraw my energy. However, if all of the wind is withdrawn from the universe, this is a problem for very obvious reasons. Number one, there is acute respiratory dysfunction, right, throughout the entire universe. And as a person who does suffer from asthma, I can tell you it's very uncomfortable. It doesn't feel great. It's not fun. And so now the whole universe is experiencing this acute respiratory dysfunction, including the Devas, which is something that is very new for them. They're used to being able to go freely. Like the Devas have celestial bodies that don't need to necessarily work with all of the things and the functions that we need, but now these bodies are not working. One thing that is also mentioned within Ayurveda is that this life force, this prana within the body is all moving according to the life airs. If there are no airs, then the joints of our bodies refuse to move. So now everybody's like stone statues. Nobody can move, nobody can breathe, everybody's having issues. And my Guru Maharaj likes to point out, which I spoke about last time, right? Didn't I say? If there's a way that my Guru Maharaj will find a way to talk about bodily functions, he will. And so, my Guru Maharaj likes to point out that also, according to Ayurveda, in order to pass stool and urine, you need air to move properly within your body. If there is no air, there are no bowel movements. There are no bodily functions now. And so now everyone feels quite constipated. And everyone feels this intense urge to use the bathroom, but no one can use it because there's no air. So now everybody's in distress. Everyone goes to Lord Brahma. Help! We need a bigger supervisor because now we have a problem with the other supervisor. Help! So Brahma says, what do you expect? He says, Hanuman was Vayu's son. You've insulted him now. I say, let us all go to where Vayu is holding Hanuman. Well, he was now called Hanuman. Hanuman means one whose chin was broken. And so he's now called Hanuman. Let's go and find this Hanuman and give him our choicest benedictions. Right? We have to go on an apology campaign now. And so they all go to the cave and they begin to shower Hanuman with so many blessings. Suryadev gives him the blessing, I will personally become your teacher. When it is time for you to learn everything and anything, I will teach you. Agnidev gives him the blessing, you will never be harmed by me. You will always overcome fire. And if we hear about these blessings and we think about them, we'll understand how Hanuman was able to use all of them in the service of Sri Ram. Yamaraj gives him the blessing, you will never become sick. You will never be tortured by any kind of illness, and you will never fear my rod of punishment. No problem. So many people give him the benediction. Lord Brahma says, if you desire, you can live even as long as me. You will be one of the longest living beings in all of creation. Lord Vishnu gives him the benediction. You will become the greatest devotee. How sweet. How incredibly sweet. Indra gives him the benediction. May every limb of your body become stronger than my own thunderbolt that I hit you with. And so he's known as Bajrangabali. His body is strong as a thunderbolt. So he's been given all of these beautiful benedictions. And then Hanuman wakes up. He regains consciousness. Vayu is pleased. Everyone else is pleased. And Hanuman now is even more celestial than he was before. What I really, really love about this story is not just that it is so playful and so fun and so adorable and so sweet and so natural. Hanuman was not necessarily trying to do anything spectacular. He was simply being himself with all of the faith that he had. And that is one thing that I love about this small, small pastime of Hanuman trying to eat the sun. He had faith. His mother told him, this is yours. And never did he think, oh, but that fruit is so far away. Is that a fruit? Can I even catch that fruit? His mother said, you can eat all the fruits. These fruits are yours. That was all that he needed to hear. Our spiritual predecessors, our spiritual grandfather Srila Prabhupada has told us, this spiritual knowledge is yours. The goal is yours. You can have it. All we have to do is go after it. Grab the fruit of Krishna Prema. It's yours. The more that we tolerate this life, Lord Brahma has said in the 10th canto, famous verse, Tatte nukampam shushamik those who are living out their lives, eagerly expecting the Lord's mercy, all the while suffering, tolerating the actions and the reactions of their past misdeeds, become automatically eligible for the Lord's kingdom, for it has become their rightful claim. Do we believe it? Do we believe our rightful claim? Just as Hanuman, he needed no reinforcements to believe what his mother has said. Do we need the extra reinforcements? Every day we are needing these reinforcements. But it's our rightful claim now. Krishna's mercy belongs to us. All we have to do is reach out and grab the fruit of Krishna's mercy. It's possible. It's promised. Can we believe it? With that same faith that Hanuman had in his mother, can we believe it? And then can we do what comes naturally? Just reach out and grab it. And so sometimes we think, can it be that simple? Of course. It's already that simple. I was kind of reflecting on one beautiful lesson that goes hand in hand with that, which is it's possible because Krishna does not need another reason to love us. Krishna doesn't need an added reason to love us. I was reading, and Srila Prabhupada often uses the analogy of our bodies and the parts and parcels of our bodies and how we work with serving Krishna, or how it should work. Right now we're having a dysfunction. How it should work is how our bodies should work. We give food to the stomach, but somehow all of our senses come alive. Right? Our bodies then work better. That food is distributed and turned into energy, and it feeds the rest of our body. But if the hand were to think, let me work for my own good, I'm going to feed myself, it doesn't work. Because that is not how the hand even eats. That's not how the hand gets its energy. And so we have to give that food to the stomach. And so Srila Prabhupada often says, if we are watering the root of the tree, it distributes it all over. If you just spray the leaves with some water, maybe a few drops will get on the soil, but it doesn't penetrate so deeply as if we were to give that water to the roots. Then it distributes it everywhere, isn't it? And so Srila Prabhupada has always said a good analogy can be taken all the way through. Should be able to work with it all the way through to the end. So how does this work with Krishna doesn't need another reason to love us? It's the same way. Because we are parts and parcels of Krishna, do we need a reason to like our hands? I don't really need a reason. Sometimes, because of society, we think, oh, my nose could be better, or my hand could be whatever. But really, we shouldn't need a reason to like our hands. They serve the function. They do what they do. And so someone would ask you, would you chop off your hand for me? And most people are like, well, that's a very big thing to ask. My hands are very dear to me. Like, I need them. Right? They're very important for me to function. But you don't need a reason. Like, why? Why? I need you to explain to me why you need both of your hands. Like, why can't you just give me one? Like, you've got two. You have a spare. I just need one. But this is something that's very, very dear to us. No, I can't give that away. We are parts and parcels of Krishna. Just like our bodily limbs, just as dear as they are to us, Krishna doesn't need a reason. We just simply are dear to Krishna. That is part of our constitutional position. Just as our constitutional position is that we are servitors of our dear Lord, similarly, our constitutional position is that we are most dear to our Lord. He doesn't need an added reason to love us. So then one might think, well then, why do we have all these rules and regulations? Aren't these rules and regulations so that I can become good enough for Krishna to love me? No. These rules and regulations are for our own rehabilitation. You see, we are in a conditioned state where we have convinced ourselves that Krishna can't love us. We are trying to rehabilitate ourselves out of that conditioning. And in order to rehabilitate ourselves, we need spiritual 12 steps. We need more than 12 steps. But we need spiritual rehabilitation. And so now we are here in this material world trying to get rehabilitated, trying to rehabilitate our souls, trying to get our souls to remember that all of this work that we are doing is simply to remember that we are naturally, lovingly built for service. And when we allow ourselves to give in to that service that comes naturally, all blessing and all good fortune naturally also follows. Hanuman, according to him, did not do anything extraordinary. According to us, is very extraordinary. But according to Hanuman, he was just being Hanuman to the best of his ability. And so we hear from the pages of the Ramayana and also from the pages of Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita the glories of what Hanuman did. Sanatan Goswami writes, it was Hanuman who acted as the Lord's best carrier, his tail serving as a royal white umbrella. His broad back was a comfortable seat for the Lord, and it was Hanuman who directed the project of bridging the great ocean. He fulfilled the desires of Vibhishan. He destroyed the military force of the Rakshasas, and he had the special power to deliver the healing herb called Vishalyakarani. So, Hanuman didn't have to serve in the way that everyone was serving. It wasn't like, oh well, let us perform great sacrifices. And Hanuman, the only way you can serve, and the best way to serve, is to perform great fire yajnas. No, he left that to the Brahmins. He was going to serve in the way that he was possible to serve, in the best way for him. And so even his body was serving Sri Ram. His tail is a great umbrella for the Lord. These verses I love because it was nothing outside of what came naturally to Hanuman. How can we serve with our bodies? So simple. But the Lord accepts it as the greatest service that he never forgets. Hanuman would take a form and say, oh Lord, please sit on my shoulders, sit on my back, and let me carry you wherever you need to go. Maybe he didn't build all the temples. Maybe he wasn't an expert temple president. And that's okay. He was just Hanuman. He wasn't even the king. He was like a general. I mean, the best general that ever was, but still. He was a servant of the king. How wonderful is this? Hanuman is forever glorious. And like I said, he's such a hero. It's like Ramayana has two heroes. You've got Ram and you've got Hanuman. And they are known in equal measure. Sometimes people know Hanuman more than they know Sri Ram. And this is because of his service. And he simply did what came naturally. He didn't have to quit his day job. And so many people ask me, how can I serve Krishna if I'm going to school and if I'm working in a business? Krishna says the best way to serve, just think of me. Just think of me. And that word, that just, it's meant because it is simple. It is that simple. Just think of me. Like we could full stop there. The Lord gives us more just in case we are feeling some kind of deficiency, but it could be full stop. Just think of me. Full stop. Done. That's it. And so many people have said, but can we attain perfection just thinking of the Lord? To that I say, we have Prahlad Maharaj, who himself says, I did nothing special. All I did was think of the Lord when I was in anxiety, when I was in danger. Which seems like that was for my own good, my own protection. All I did was think of the Lord. But can anyone say that Prahlad Maharaj didn't attain perfection? It was perfect. And then he had to go about his job, which we often don't think of. We hear about Prahlad Maharaj at 5, and then we leave the 7th canto, and then we go on, and then we don't think about Prahlad Maharaj anymore. Except for that was Prahlad Maharaj at 5. Prahlad Maharaj is still living today. He's still having a whole existence. And so his story was not over. He rules the kingdom of the demons for thousands of years, not quitting his day job. And so you might think, but so many, right? Those are pure devotees. They don't have a day job like me. I don't think any of us are ruling the kingdom of the demons. These people who since time immemorial are inimical to Lord Vishnu. And somehow or other, under Prahlad Maharaj's rule, everyone was okay. They were serving Lord Vishnu because their king was serving Lord Vishnu. But all he says he did was, I was only thinking of the Lord in my times of difficulty. Just think of me, full stop. Can we have enough faith in that? Faith like Hanuman jumping to the sun, that this is our rightful claim. Lord Brahma has told us, Krishna has told us, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has told us, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told us, Srila Prabhupada has told us. What does it take for us to believe? We can allow our minds to believe. Just as we don't need an excuse to love the parts of our body, Krishna does not need an excuse to love us. We need the excuse to remember it. We need the excuse to come to that conclusion. Rightfully so. We have sometimes been hurt, disappointed, disillusioned by other living entities. But that's not Krishna. That's not our friend. Our friend didn't disappoint us. Our friend didn't disillusion us. Our friend has been working to stay with us since forever. Our friend said, okay, you want to leave my abode? Fine. You want to go and be the ruler of some other abode? Fine. But now I will create a form just so that you never go alone. Just so that you are never alone, I will create an expansion just for this reason. There's no other reason for Paramatma. Just so that we don't travel alone. Our friend does not need any other reason to love us. But we need many, many reasons to remember that. Every day, we can reinforce our rightful claim. By looking at the glories of Hanuman, we can reinforce what is promised to us. Because it is a promise. It is a benediction. We have gotten such incredible boons. And then, with those benedictions of Krishna's mercy, we do what comes naturally. We do what comes naturally, and we simply dedicate it all to Krishna. And then Krishna takes care of the rest. Hanuman would jump for long portions, right? Jumping across the whole sea. But he starts off with the holy name of Ram, and Ram does the rest. Hanuman was always very clear on that. I am but a servant of Ram. Imagine if this is what I can do. Imagine the glory of my Lord. This is Hanuman. He is such an emblem of bhakti. When we think about bhakti, when we think about devotion, there are few people who come to mind more than Hanuman. Such a superhero of devotion. And all that we need in order to become superheroes of devotion is to flex our devotional muscle. So let us come together every day and exercise those devotional muscles. The mind will try to tell us, who do you think you are? The mind will try to stop us. The mind will come at us with lots of fear, as did the rest of the universe when Hanuman was being Hanuman. But can we just be ourselves? Can we remind ourselves that being me and offering up the best of me is actually good enough for Krishna? It's perfect for Krishna. If I just do the best that I can being me, Krishna will create a super adventure out of it all. Krishna will create the best circumstances, better than I could have ever planned. That will be Krishna's mercy, meeting me more than halfway. The same way that every time Hanuman jumps, he is carried on the wind, because the wind is his own father. We will be carried on the wind of Krishna's mercy. Krishna says, I'm your everything. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised everyone, Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas, go tell everyone, Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, Krishna is your real wealth and the treasure of your life. Just give yourself to chanting this holy name and see what magic happens. Anytime the devotees were afraid, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say, begin kirtan. You see what magic I do this day. Can we believe it? We owe it to ourselves to believe it. Because if we don't, we are stuck with the material world doing what it does. This is a miserable place which will make us think it is devoid of magic. The magic is in bhakti. The magic is in Krishna's mercy. The magic is in every Mahamantra. In every single mantra that we chant, there is unlimited and unparalleled magic hidden. All we have to do is remember. Hanuman also had some trouble remembering. For some time, he was cursed to kind of forget how amazing he was. But he had Jambavan. We have our gurus. And our gurus have come to remind us, don't you remember who you are? You are a servant of our dearmost friend. Krishna is your dearmost friend. You are personal friends with the Lord of the universe who has all opulences. So many opulences. Why are you afraid? Why do you think you cannot do this? Why do you think you cannot achieve perfection in devotional service? Why do you think you can't get Krishna Prema? Krishna is already your friend. Don't you remember who you are? Hanuman allowed himself to remember who he was. And then he never forget it. Let us remember who we are. Let us give ourselves permission to remember who we are and what our lineage is. We are Krishna's family. Srila Prabhupada said the moment you get initiated, you become Achyuta Gotra, part of Krishna's family. As part of Krishna's family, let's act like it. Let's remember exactly who we are. And in this way, we give honor and glory to Sri Hanuman. We give honor and glory to Srila Prabhupada and all of our predecessors. And we give joy to our hearts because we've been traveling for so long. And part of our biggest problem is we've forgotten who we are. We are Krishna's family. So thank you for being part of my family. Thank you for allowing me to be with you on this Ekadashi.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say, the moment you get initiated, you become a Shuddha Gopi.
Yeah.
Okay, it's darshan time, dear devotees. Turn your cameras on and flex your devotional muscles, Shuddha Gopi told us. I have a question, Shuddha Gopi.
Yes.
Maybe for Afterglow. How can I be myself with this day job?
Yeah.
Maybe I should quit it to become the next Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. I don't know.
Well, what's funny is he even told them, don't quit your day job.
Okay.
Right? The first time they meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they say, we want to quit our day job. We want to just serve you. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no. He said, but he gives them such an interesting analogy that Srila Prabhupada uses over and over. He says, if there's a married woman and she has a paramour, what happens is they do their housework so nicely. It's almost extra nice, so that they don't let on that there's anything secret happening in the heart. All the while thinking of their paramour. He said, in that way, you should continue your day job. And that's all he wrote in the letter. And so many people, what is this? Why is he talking about like women and affairs and all kinds of stuff? Like, what's happening? But the purport is that as we go through our lives, we have control over one thing. what's happening in our minds. And so even if we are at a day job, even if we are there, we're working, and it could be corporate, but in our minds, we are thinking about Krishna. Just think of me. And so sometimes that means that we perform our jobs even extra perfect because our minds are thinking, but somehow this is for Krishna. Yudhishthira Maharaj did not want to rule. So many times he said, "Can I just go to the forest?" And Krishna said, "No, we're going to fight a war. There's going to be a lot of death, and you're going to have a kingdom. Now go rule it." And he didn't want to, but Krishna wanted him to, because Krishna wanted that his devotees should rule the earth. And so whether you are an administrator, whether you are working doctor, lawyer, school, corporate, doesn't matter. In our minds and in our hearts, we think of Krishna. We understand. And I used to do this. I was working as a college counselor for some time. And every so often, I would sit and think, there's a Paramatma in this person's heart. Whether they know it or not, my best friend is in that person's heart. How would I interact with them? It's almost like you have a shared secret with everyone that you meet. They might not know it, but Paramatma does. And so when we're interacting on the basis of this shared secret, we start to handle it differently. We start to see it differently. Sometimes we view the people who get on our nerves, for lack of a better word, with some degree of sadness. Oh, this person has really forgotten who they are. This person has really forgotten their connection with Krishna. Okay, how can I deal with this as quickly as possible so that I can get away from this energy? But it helps us to really put things into greater perspective. And that is key. It's the perspective. And we always have the gift of that perspective. We don't ever have to say, okay, well, let me give up everything and move to the forest. That might not be the most conducive thing for ourselves or our family. And that false renunciation is a killer. Shishirada Murlidhara ki jai, Shigoda Chandra ki jai. But nothing can stop our minds. We always can have control. So cute.
Lord Chaitanya says, don't quit your day job.
Yeah, unfortunately. Most of the time, God says, don't quit your day job. There are so many instances. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went and traveled all over. And every time he would meet people and they would say, "Oh, I want to travel with you." He said, "No, you're a householder. Go back home. Take care of your family. But all you have to do is tell everyone you meet about me. And that way Krishna will be happy. That will be the perfection of your life, and you can become guru by not changing your life." How amazing is that?
Yeah. Go home, wash the dishes, tell your wife about Krishna.
Now, see, if we could wash the dishes in a mood of service, that's the best thing about family life. You know, you live with other people, you learn how to serve other living entities, and most of the time you're not going to get any credit for it. So you get to offer all respects to others and not expect any in return because they're not giving you any. But it is the perfect situation to become humble and tolerant, which enables us to chant the holy name constantly. It is a big blessing if we choose to see it that way.
Beautiful class, it should have good. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone like to ask a question or reflect? I see Bhima Prabhu is rushing to oh God.
Prabhu, I was one. Haribol? Can I be heard okay, or am I broken up?
You're good.
I'm good. And so is Ananda Bihari. So he's talking about his daytime job. His daytime job is to eat the prasad, the unique everyday feast that his wife cooks. His is to honor the prasad. So he's really got it hard. I mean, his life is just, and to read his beautiful daughter, Krishna book stories. He's really suffering without Krishna in his life, in his daytime job.
I mean, I agree. He's got it hard. Like, really, we need prayers.
I'm
My
not
prayers.
quitting. I'm not quitting.
My prayers go out to you.
Thank you for keeping me humble and grateful. Thank you. Okay.
Wow.
Questions? So many Vaishnavi.
Dia wrote in the chat that she would like to hear another pastime of Hanuman, if possible.
Let's see. There are so many. Pastimes of Hanuman are so unlimited. Okay. So, from the pages of Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, I've been reflecting on it because whenever I find an acharya that really, really speaks to me, I try and, what's the mood of this supreme, what's the mood of this personality? And Hanuman is so amazing and so humble at the same time. And so he is a monkey and does natural monkey things. So he goes, he jumps into Lanka, and we heard about how he met Lankini. At least I think we did. I've been speaking about Hanuman a lot, so now it's kind of all merging together, but I think we heard about Lankini. And he gets into Lanka, and then he looks for Sita. He gives joy to the heart of Sita with the message from Ram. He sings to her, effectively saving her life with kirtan. And then he says, in true Hanuman fashion, "Oh mother, I'm very hungry. Before I go back to Ram and give him your message in return, might I have some fruits?" And so Sita Devi says, just as Hanuman's mother said, "Please take all the fruits you want. This garden is full of fruits." He says, "Thank you." And so he begins to uproot the trees. Like one would think, can't you just take one or two fruits? No, not Hanuman. In true Hanuman fashion, he's uprooting trees and shaking them and getting all of the fruits in this garden that Ravana was very, very proud of is now in shambles. And so Ravana begins to send many, many of his soldiers, because they come to him and they say, "There's a monkey destroying your Ashok garden." So why are you disturbing me? Like, India's full of monkeys. Why? What? Is this one special? Like, you can't subdue a monkey? So now he sends his soldiers, go, go, go. And they go, and Hanuman liberates them all, as my Guru Maharaj would say. Our Vedic way of saying he killed them. And so many of them. He was crushing their arms and legs and heads, and so many, and the soldiers are coming. And finally, one of Hanuman's chief ministers goes, and Hanuman is up in a tree. And so, and I recite this pastime for my nephew. My nephew just turned 8, and he enjoys pastimes like these, and so this is for him. And so Hanuman is up in a tree, and so the minister comes, "Hey, you monkey!" And he's shouting at Hanuman, "You come down from this tree right now. You come. You are under arrest, under the order of Ravana." And Hanuman says, "I'm a monkey. I do monkey things." And so whenever people tell me that they think anthropologically that Hanuman is not a monkey but a tribal person, I say, however, according to Valmiki Ramayana and other Tulsidasa's Sri Ramcharitamanas and so many other things, we should give ourselves the utmost permission to not look at Shastra from the standpoint of what makes sense to some historian. We have such amazing history. This is the history, not the historians who teach us that, like, nothing magical can exist and it's only this and only that and there was one whatever happened in science. And There are so many things that are already defying science. Give ourselves permission to go with this with the utmost faith. So Hanuman says, I'm a monkey, I do monkey things. And so he looks at this guard, and as a monkey, passes urine on the guard. Because this is Hanuman. And now one would think, why is this important for this story? Well, that chief minister goes back to Ravan and says, we are finished. And so Ravan says, well, what do you mean we are finished? What are you saying? He says, I got a premonition. Once, Lord Brahma told me. And Lord Brahma was giving a lot of premonitions during this story. He says, once Lord Brahma told me that you will come across a monkey. And this monkey will be so powerful that this monkey will pass urine in your face and you won't be able to do anything. You should know when that day comes, your kingdom is bound to fall. So this chief minister says, we're ruined. That's it. We can't do anything. This monkey will ruin us all. Ravana says it's ridiculous. He sends one of his sons. That son dies at the hand of Hanuman. And then Indrajit comes. Meghna, Ravana's other son. And then Hanuman agrees to be captured because he cannot be harmed by any weapon. As per his benedictions, he can't actually be harmed by fire. And so when they set Hanuman's tail on fire, he actually is not harmed. He could never have been harmed. But this is Hanuman just being Hanuman. And my nephew really likes the pastimes where things also happen with bodily functions. And so I can hear him in my mind laughing so hysterically because Hanuman is just being Hanuman. But it's amazing that this is the greatest servant of Sri Ram that this world has ever known. He is the greatest devotee that this world has ever known. Should we follow in the footsteps of Hanuman? No, not unless we are also celestial monkeys. Sometimes we have to abide by the customs of our prescribed tribe.
Yeah,
But
don't get in anyone's face.
please don't. That's going to be unlawful. They're going to come for you. The internet, the law, everyone's going to come for you. But Hanuman could get away with it, and this is why he wanted to be a celestial monkey. And I don't have to live by your human rules. But we do. And so this is just another example wherein we can do anything and everything. But then Hanuman was so humble. He tells Narada says, you are the greatest recipient of the Lord's mercy. You have served Ram for thousands of years. Hanuman says, you think my service is something? Think about the love and the care that he has given to his family members, like the Yadus. Think about the care that he's given to the Pandavas. So my own little brother Bhima is there within these Pandavas. He says, I have been Ram's messenger. I am celebrated throughout time as Ram's messenger. But Krishna is the messenger of Yudhishthira. Imagine. Krishna goes and touches the feet of Yudhishthira and Bhima as he considers them his elders. You think I've done anything? You should go and speak to the Pandavas. You should go and speak to the Yadus. I don't know any kind of love like that. And so Narada says, you're right. Let's go. Let's go and see them right away. Hanuman says, I don't think I can go. Narada says, why? Hanuman says, because Krishna's pastimes are very mysterious. And I'm a monkey. Not only might I not recognize these mysterious pastimes, but I might disturb their mood. I don't want to cause any offenses to Krishna's pastimes. Let me stay here in Kimpurusha and let me worship my Lord Ram. Him I understand. I'm used to that. Krishna's pastimes, they baffle even me. So how amazing is our Krishna? Hanuman can do anything and everything, but he is baffled by Krishna, who does anything and everything even more. But he was so humble that he says, I don't want to disturb their mood. Let me stay here. And so sometimes when we feel as though we are unsure about going into new spaces, sometimes we can check ourselves. You know what? Let me not go over there if I think I'm the boss and I know which way is the best way. I know exactly which way things should be done. I start to think about Hanuman. Whenever I'm in an assembly and I'm looking at something and I'm like, oh, you did that the wrong way. You should have done it so and so way. I start to think about Hanuman. Wait, let me not disturb anyone's mood because the Lord is accepting their service. And the Lord is lovingly accepting their heart and the mood in which they're performing that service. So whether I think someone has forgotten something or done something wrong, I am not in a position to correct them. I think about Hanuman. Let me not disturb their mood. Let me just look, my Lord is so merciful. He is accepting everything, faults and all. He is accepting everything with activities that maybe no one will ever be able to understand, but he accepts us. And so I am always in awe of Hanuman's humility, of Hanuman's tolerance, of Hanuman's ability to say, I know where my place is, and I know how I can best serve. And I also know that sometimes the way I can come across can cause a disturbance to someone else's heart. And so because Vaishnavas don't ever want to cause distress to anyone else's heart, and they don't want to disturb anyone else's service mood and attitude, sometimes Hanuman says, I'll keep it to myself. I'll just keep it here to myself. And that is, to me, the epitome of humility. It takes so much more humility not to point out, you know what? I know how right I am. It takes so much humility to keep that to ourselves, isn't it? Because sometimes we think even before we have a chance to stop the mind, it's out of our mouth. You know, actually, Prabhu, with all due respect, now let me tell you all the things that you did wrong. After I say with all due respect and call you master, Hanuman understood all of this. He understood how to be more humble than a blade of grass. My Guru Maharaj says, Hanuman is actually the example of humility. Humility means pride in the greatness of God. True humility doesn't mean that we think nothing or I'm just so fallen. But Hanuman knew, maybe I can't do anything, but with the power of Sri Ram, I can do anything and everything, and I should do it. Otherwise, that is not giving glory to my Ram. Giving glory to my Ram means I can do this to the best of my ability. So true humility is pride in the greatness of God. Look at what God has done. Look at the beautiful mercy that God has showered on me. And so we can take that to heart, and we can do wonderful things and be proud of those wonderful things, because that's Krishna's mercy. So those were two. You got two pastimes about Hanuman.
Dear Rasa, we are. Thank you.
I could listen to more Hanuman pastimes the whole day, but I do realize you have a time limitation for the class.
Thank you for the question, dear Rasa. Thank you for the pastimes and Shuddha Gopi. Thank you for highlighting the humility aspect of Hanuman's personality. That was pretty wonderful. Never heard it that way. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu, for your 5 cents. Andrea, thank you for co-hosting and damage controlling us. Amrita Kishori, Didi, Justy, Bruce, Prabhu, Yogeshwari, Suzanne. See, Vaishnavis are not tuning out. Rich, Prema Vinodini, Mona Lisa, Susan, Dormi, thank you very much. Sticking around till the end. See you again tomorrow. Shuddha Gopi Ki Jai. Everybody, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And go to your day job on Monday, not today. Give the Sunday to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.